All right. Welcome to the Ultra High Net Worth Clients Podcast. I'm your host, Chris Broadhead. We started this podcast as a way to create a central resource of the best financial advisor practice growing tips shared by the most outstanding advisors in the industry, of which our guest today is definitely one. These outstanding financial advisors agree to be on the show and provide a ton of value for free, all in the hopes that our audience might learn from their words. My father was a financial advisor, and financial advisors are the main clients we serve. So my marketing agency's mission is to help every financial advisor grow their business in an effort to help the world become more financially secure. Today, we have the rare pleasure of talking with an incredible financial advisor, Krishna Velaga. Krishna, please introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about you.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you for having me on your podcast today. I am the founder and the chief investment officer at my firm, Velaga Advisors. We are an advisory firm offering investment management and financial planning services to the high net worth clients. I'm looking forward to the conversation today, and as we go through the conversation, we can get into more details.
Great. So I normally like to start the interview with how you found yourself in this industry. Can you tell us a little bit about how you made your way here?
Sure. And actually, I forgot, I also want to add a small disclaimer before I go into the more detail, just to be safe, right? I mean, as we have this conversation, any comments I make as part of this conversation are of a general nature only, and should not be considered as an investment advice. I strongly encourage the investors to talk to their tax or investment or legal professionals for their specific situations to get the advice. Okay. Get that
Awesome.
out of the way. All right. Let me talk about how I got to into the world of finance, right? So my background actually is in computer science. So for a long time, I worked in IT industry for about 28, 30 years. So back in the 1990s, I got very interested in finance. I got into the investments, stocks, bonds, and various option strategies, and that's how I got started. Then I was interested in learning more. I went to a business school and did an MBA, focusing mostly on finance and accounting. So one led to the other. Then I said, hey, I'm getting more interested in maybe going after a CFA, the Chartered Financial Analyst designation. I went through that thing for a couple of levels. I got through the level 2, and then I decided I was not going to change my career. I stayed back in IT, but I had all this knowledge, Chris. So what I was trying to do is leverage that knowledge for myself. One is, how do I retire early? And I was also using that knowledge to help my colleagues and friends in many different ways, whether it is investment advice, college education planning, retirement strategies, and whatnot. So it was informal, friendly advice, but I have kind of been doing it to the point where many of my colleagues were recognizing me, more for my financial savviness and skills, also in addition to my, software and IT kind of skills. So it was more of a natural evolution. And, I got into the alternative investments about 8, 9 years ago, trying to build my cash flow streams in preparation for retirement and so on. So then it came to a point where, hey, I'm financially independent. And what am I doing in my software industry? I thought, hey, it's time for me to chase my passion and do what I'm enjoying the most at this point in my life. It is something that I could not afford many years ago, which is why I kind of paused on the CFA path. Now I can afford. I said, hey, let me take up this path. And like how I help many people on the IT side, I thought I have an opportunity to make a difference to some other people who are walking in a similar path that I already did. That's how I got here. So I basically left the IT field in 2023, called it retirement from the IT industry. And I went ahead and started my own firm. I evaluated a couple of other ways to be in this industry, but at the end of the day, I really wanted to have my freedom because I have some ideas on how I want to do this thing differently. So I said the best way for me to do would be to start my own firm. I know it's a long answer, but we can go into any details that you want. Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. Definitely want to dig into that. So we've interviewed over 100 financial advisors. You are the first one that has gone from IT to you know, finance. Can
Mhm.
can you talk about, how that your background in technology and I mean obviously, you had this whole other set of skills and
Mhm.
insights. How has that impacted and benefited your ability to um, you know, be an incredible financial advisor?
Okay, good. Very good question.
Thank you.
So, to me, it was not a big transition, honestly. So, to me, I consider myself a student of life, student for life, rather.
Mm,
Always trying to learn something new, always trying to do something differently than how it is done and try to make things a little better, right? That's a very common theme. So when I was growing up, I was fascinated with math. I was very big into the math and analytical skills, and two of my favorite subjects in high school were math and English, surprisingly, right? So when I came to the undergrad time frame, I was trying to pick my career. So it was analytical skills and math skills. So computer science fit my natural path, and which I really, really enjoyed. Once you get into the computer science, you're thinking more holistic solutions in IT industry. How do you make things more robust? How do you make things more efficient, some faster than what other people can do, whatnot, right? It's the same
mhm,
same theme. So once I was in that industry, and you started doing investments for my own sake, then I said, oh, I can do this thing better. It's all math again, right? Same underlying trend: math, analytical skills, and of course, some common sense and discipline. So I enjoyed doing that. Then that's why I went into I said, hey, I want to learn more. Then that had me into the MBA program. I focused very heavily into or in finance and accounting. And then that led me into, hey, let me do CFA. I had this dream of, making it really big in the finance industry. So I came out of the business school and I pursued that path. And as I told you before, for personal reasons, based on how things were at that time, I decided to stay back in IT. But I never stopped the investment journey part of it. Like I said before, whether it was helping other people or I was thinking about how do I leverage my skills in building cash flow streams and alternative investments. How do I learn how to analyze them? Again, there's a lot of analytical skills. There's a lot of math and all that stuff, right? One other thing is because I worked in the technology industry, mostly in the leadership roles, I also learned how to deal with various personalities, how to help other people grow, how to listen to them, how to understand what they want, provide a solution that they want. So now, if I combine these analytical skills and the technology and the people skills, and if I put all on the passion, if I put all of this together, and given that I'm financially independent, I said, okay, what is the next thing that I could do? So the next one was obviously something into investment management where I can use the same analytical skills. I'm not changing. It's the same analytical skills, same discipline, same common sense, same people skills. It's just different industry. For me, it is kind of a very continuous journey. It didn't really make a big switch.
mhm,
Yeah.
hmm. Yeah, that makes sense. And it
Yeah. I mean,
sounds like
Mhm.
yeah, go ahead.
And the one interesting fact of this is I thought I left, the software and IT world, but that didn't leave me finance world. And then you see that, wow. this finance thing is very tightly integrated with technology, because I am busy evaluating several technology, fintech kind of products, right? To whether it is to design the portfolios, maintain them, rebalance them, all sorts of stuff. Financial planning software, tax planning software. So it's interesting that I kind of moved on to the finance, but the software is still there, and having some background in that thing also helps me a little bit just to finish that part.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's such a unique and valuable perspective, especially in, modern life where every day we get more automated and technology focused. For our advisor listeners, with your background in technology and your expertise there, are there any automations, software technology that you employ that maybe, other financial advisors don't generally employ that you would recommend?
Not yet, but one of the things I am looking at is how do we incorporate AI, artificial intelligence, into this process. Right, we are in the very early stage. I don't think I have much to offer yet. But again, mine is a very small firm at this point. Have been very busy in trying to set up the infrastructure around it, and yeah, we'll get there. But that's what I am kind of thinking about. Yeah.
Hmm. Okay, awesome. And I work a lot with Chat GPT. It's like the most incredible thing that's ever been created. A lot of my colleagues who are, also in marketing or entrepreneurs, they're like, it's making me dumber.
Well, that is
To me it seems like the equivalent of like, we don't really need to remember phone numbers anymore
Mhm. Yeah,
because, they're all in our phones. And like this is like we don't need to remember how to like do and like to write an email.
that is there.
It's a
Sad email,
little
I guess.
it's a little
Yeah.
scary. Yeah, but
I
but
just
my yeah, go ahead.
that's
Okay. So my reason for saying that is, I think in the back of a lot of advisors' minds are like, am I going to be replaced by this stuff at some point in the next couple years? And from my perspective, it doesn't seem like a huge threat. Like it's not artificial general intelligence where it's like thinking and wanting things. It's just like a tool and it makes mistakes all the time. You're obviously much more well versed in technology. Do you have a perspective on if advisors should worry about being replaced by AI?
um I think it is probably yes and no, but I would, like any other technology, right? It has both sides of that one. If you if you are the kind of person who embraces the change and think about how to leverage this technology for, to do the business better for the clients, I think there's a big positive. That's the camp I am in. But if you're scared of the technology, more likely it's going to replace you. Again, if you go back into history, this is not the only groundbreaking technology, right? We have had several technological changes in the last 20, 30 years.
Mm-hmm.
And those who embrace the change and try to leverage the new technology continue to thrive. So same thing here. For example, if I am evaluating some private investments, so I spend a lot of time, you know, what if there is an AI solution that can at least, do the basic groundwork, the first 70, 80% of the work is done by that, then I can
Mm-hmm.
save a lot of time, right? I know those tools are coming into the market. I have seen even a Google product like NodeLM, something like that. If you feed a private placement thing, the PPM, it does a lot of that groundwork. Try to read it, summarize it. You can ask some questions. The same thing, right? And likewise, some of the software products that we are using today, they themselves are asking the same question. hey, how do I use AI into my product? So I become an indirect beneficiary of AI also in that sense. For example, if you look at the tax planning is a huge area. I mean, who doesn't love to minimize the taxes, right? Most clients come to me and they ask one of the two questions. Can you help me minimize the taxes? The other one is, can you help me make more money, right? So there are, I think, opportunities in that space also. So I'm excited. I am looking forward to the technology changes. And again, coming from that background, uh, it's more interesting for me to see these two converge more and more.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, me too. It really, I think we're living in, such incredibly fortunate times. Like, I used to joke with my friends, like going back to a time before smartphones. It's like it just boggles
Right.
the mind. It's like terrifying. And now it's like going back to a time before large language models like ChatGPT. I'm like, oh my gosh, like
I
that would
know.
be a nightmare. And I mean,
I
that's
know.
just what a massive, benefit and shift these technologies have made.
That's
I'm gonna ask one more technology question, and this might be
true.
redundant, but how do you anticipate this AI, technology? How do you anticipate, further incorporating it into your advisory practice, and what kind of benefits will you receive, and will your clients receive, like over the next couple of years, even out 5 years or so?
I think right now I'm focusing more on how do we leverage AI on the research side. The research side, portfolio construction, evaluating all the offerings in the market. Because I think I didn't get into that topic, but uh, we'll talk about that. I also do a lot of private investments. It's a little bit of a wild west out there. So there is a lot of opportunity to leverage AI to filter out the bad stuff and you know pick the top ones. Try to also use AI to monitor and see the trends and changes, and where maybe you can clean some smartness out of that thing to change the course, rebalance stuff, and switch from one to the another. And that's where I am focused a lot because my client base right now is very small. So I'm not so much about using AI on the client side. But once I take care of this one, I mean, this will grow. And then I think as I learn more about those client specific challenges, maybe we'll have an idea about how we can leverage the technology. So speaking of that, I had an opportunity, for example, to be a kind of like an IT-ish kind of advisor to some firm. It's kind of an AI uh, firm that trying to work on some AI product, and uh, I thought about it, but at this time I wanted to stay focused on my current business. I didn't want to spend a few hours on that thing every week, but that gave me an idea that in the future that could be something where I could even partner with some small AI startup kind of companies if they're working on products that are in my lane, for my area of interest. Then maybe I can even collaborate and leverage my background to even customize some for them for this industry. That's what I'm thinking.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure there's I mean that's such a unique, um beneficial perspective for you to have. Like I'm sure there's a lot of opportunities to, create solutions and software, that combines, technology and financial services. So that's,
Absolutely. Yep.
yeah, that's cool. So if I understood correctly, you said you find private investments for your clients. Did I understand that?
Uh, Private investments also.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah, that's one of the ways. Maybe I can talk about that one. Um, that's one of the ways I differentiate my service offering. Right. I mean, But as we talked, I am relatively new to the industry. I'm driven by passion and some knowledge. I was thinking when I was setting up the business, there are a lot of financial advisors providing a lot of these services, right, to clients. So how do I differentiate myself from so many people in the industry? So the ways I differentiate, I came up with this idea. One obviously is I have thought through the kind of client profiles that I can make a bigger difference. And it's a big ocean. I don't want to boil the ocean. I don't want to take on every possible client. Again, I'm driven by passion first and business next. I'm financially independent. If you keep those two things in mind, that gives me a lot of freedom in how I want to do my business, right? So I said I'm only going to, work on certain client profiles and not anything else. I want to stay focused on that one. And from investments perspective, I wanted to do more public investments, but also some private investments. Within the public, I'm talking about the low cost investments and sometimes and mix them with the factor based investments as well. And on the private stuff, whether it's the real estate and most recently, I have transitioned a lot into the institutional funds, the 40 Act kind of funds. I'm also trying to keep the financial and tax life a little bit simple for my clients without losing tax efficiency. So that is my other challenge. I'm trying to make it easier for them. I mean, the kind of clients I'm talking about are the wealthy people who have won the game already. So they're not trying to win the game now. They won the game. So they're more in the wealth preservation mode, right? They don't want to do these huge ups and downs in the market. They want more risk adjusted returns, more stability in the portfolio, more of an all weather thing, so they can go enjoy their life. If it's a busy doctor, they can go take care of their patients. If it's a busy businessman, they can focus on the business and so on. Or if it's a truly retired person, they can just go enjoy life. I'm there to provide that confidence and the knowledge with what I do to them. So that's my investment offering, right? What that also means is if I have a client profile, I had cases where different types of clients came in that weren't exactly fitting into my profile. So part of it is to interview them like how they were interviewing me to figure out, hey, does this client really fit into what I am looking for? And sometimes I had to learn to nicely say no. So I actually said no to more potential or more prospective clients than I said yes to. Because they didn't fit in the model and I didn't want to dilute my focus. I want to just focus on those things, right? And that one. The other ways I am different would be, accessibility, for example, right? I'm not planning to take on 100, 200 clients. I want to limit the number, but I'm focusing on a fewer clients, but each one is very wealthy. Right? These are really high net worth clients, but fewer of them. So their problems will be somewhat similar. So I want to solve those problems, whether it is the investment thing, diversification, tax optimization, estate planning strategies around the taxes. People think a lot about investments, but there are so many other ways we can save money in actually more certain ways than investments, because investments depend on the market conditions. But there's some of these other techniques we are talking about. You can save that money. And I use the phrase offense and defense. If you look at a sport, the offensive game, which is you go score the runs. It's basically investment performance. And then there's a defensive game, which is minimize your taxes and planning, whether it's income taxes, estate planning taxes. You got to do both of them in tandem to get ahead. In order to do this, obviously, it needs a lot of patience. I need it go slow. I'm relatively new. I'm trying to learn the industry and learn clients. So going slow, building it slow allows me to kind of refine my process as I go along. And because I came from a technology background, I'm very big about streamlining the operations, automating things, and so on, workflows and whatnot. So I got it to the point right now where I'm more comfortable to take more clients. Right? That's how I built the business.
Hmm. Got it. Got it. So, who would you say is your ideal client, and how do you get on their radar and connect with them and eventually start working with them?
So the ideal client for me, from a age perspective, I'm looking at 40s to 60s, 40s, 50s, and 60s. Most people land in the 50s, but either they have to be high net worth, which kind of pushes them into 50s and 60s, or very high earners. So that would be sometimes 40s. Right? I have both kinds of clients.
Hmm.
And again, like I said, these are the clients, they're not worried about living within the budget, making those kind of not living on the edge kind of thing. These are the guys who won the game. They're trying to preserve the wealth, grow the wealth moderately, and then put in all these other strategies around the wealth transfers and so on, right? Those are my clients. So typically what that translates, and the other thing is, my firm minimum is 1 million. There is a reason for that, which is basically a definition of an accredited investor, because I do invest in the private investments, right?
Hmm.
But so far, most of my clients are all qualified purchasers, QP, so which is 5 million and above, not just accredited, but the QPs. So that's, and from a professional perspective, we have a lot of doctors, we have technology professionals, and small business owners kind of clients. And I think you asked the second question, which was how do I find the clients?
Hmm.
Okay,
Hmm.
sure. That's basically, I have not done a whole lot of marketing yet, because I am trying to grow slow and build the infrastructure, that kind of stuff. That's right. So mostly through the word of mouth, because I've worked in a technology industry for a long time in the same company. I have a lot of connections and friends and who made it big. So that's one strong source for me, because they knew me, right? They know me for 20, 30 years. So then it's not some new advisor. They know my character, they know my financial skill. They're looking for, hey, I want to give my money to somebody that I know that he has the skill, and somebody that I trust. That's one set of clients. Then, as I was working through the alternative investments for the last 8 to 10 years, I built my own network of these sponsors, the fund managers, and then several alternative investment investors that I have been networking with even before I had the idea that I would start this business. So there is a lot that pool also. And then finally, I have done a couple of yeah, educational events around retirement planning, wealth building, and one solely focused on estate planning from a tax perspective. The really high-end
Hmm.
work, right? So those are the things, and I have done a few small group kind of discussions. But I think I'm actually going to add a second team member, mostly an advisor, mostly who passed the test, who is qualified to be an advisor. We are trying to see if we can provide a backup to each other. And right now it's a one-person shop. Maybe one focusing primarily on the planning part of it, and investments is secondary, and the other person being the other way. So basically, that's all part of the infrastructure build-up, right? Once we have that, I do want to do more of these events, that kind of stuff. That's where I'm going. Not in any
Hmm.
rush. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely not in any rush.
Awesome. 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 Cool. Well, we are coming towards the end of our time. This is awesome. I could just ask you questions about finance and technology for the rest of the afternoon. You're a very bright fellow. Cool. So my final question for you, and it's an open-ended question. If you've watched any episodes, you know what I'm going to ask. You can take it in any direction you like. The question is, what are you working towards?
Sure. So I am interested in investment management. I'm interested in planning. I have a very natural interest and a lot of knowledge in taxation. Couple of my CPAs that I used in the past told me that I'm the most tax knowledgeable person they met outside of the CPA community. Probably means something. So I have that one. So what I am trying to go in the future is more of the wealth management thing. I want to become a one-stop shop. So right now I'm only doing the investment management and financial planning. I kind of solved a problem where, if I do just investment management or just the financial planning, there are a lot of gray areas in between. So I solved that problem. But I want to go a little bit more and maybe build a network of providers like in estate planning attorneys, CPAs, and so we can somehow work together more seamlessly. Even if whether we are same organization or not, it doesn't really matter. From a client perspective, I want to be honestly more like a wealth manager. They come to me and it ends there because I take care of everything for them using this network of providers. So that's the direction that I want to grow, and we'll see how it grows. And if everything goes well, you never know. You might probably build your own staff in all those areas and become a big wealth management firm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, sounds like you are well on your path to reaching that dream. So we'll be
Thank you.
be excited to continue watching your journey. Where can my audience find out more about you, Krishna?
So I have my website. It's a www.velagaadvisors.com. It's a VELAGA ADVISORS advisors.com. I'm also on LinkedIn. You can look me up. I think I'm not very active on the social media other than those two. So I think those will be good places. Yeah.
Awesome. We will link those in the show notes. Krishna, thank you so much for taking the time to share your knowledge and experience with me and my audience, man. It's great.
Thank you, Chris. I really appreciate the opportunity to talk to you and your audience. Yeah. Thank you.
So second time's the charm. Awesome. All right. And to all our listeners out there, thank you so much for tuning in and keep on growing out there, everybody.